It was really 5 or 6 years ago, a couple of things happened. I turned 60 and a little granddaughter came along, my first grandchild, and I really thought about the future and her future. My name is Steve Barron, and I've built a house out of hemp that we grew in our farm a few years ago. It was something that I was inspired to do for the planet, for my grandchildren, to say, let's help try and fix it.
The construction and building sector is responsible for 30 to 40% of global carbon emissions, as well as energy use, as well as solid waste that it generates. And therefore, natural building materials have a big role to play in cleaning up the building and construction sector for a sustainable future. So a hectare of hemp can sequester somewhere between 2 or 3 times more carbon dioxide than a typical forest. So this stem is about 2 meters tall, and you can see that the thickness of the stem is about 1.5 centimeters or 2 centimeters. Hemp can grow to 3 or 4 meters in height and thicknesses of 3 to 4 centimeters in diameter, and that is what makes it a really good plant material to sequester carbon, because the carbon is being stored in the stalk, the stem of the plant, and the oxygen is being released for our benefit, and we can then use the fibrous, the shive material for building materials in which the buildings are actually going to be carbon sinks.
So I met Steve and we started talking about some of his ideas for the project, and this idea of kind of creating a productive landscape where hemp was grown but also processed. We wanted to demonstrate that it was possible to make a house that is effectively carbon negative, and we managed to do that by the fact that the materials that we use sequester carbon, so they draw carbon out of the atmosphere and they lock it in, so they kind of hold it in the fabric of the building. So whilst the building costs some carbon to build, that's offset by the carbon that is sequestered in the materials in the fabric of the building.
What got me interested in it was that hemp is a plant, it's like wheat, but did you know that you could also solidify it and turn it into a hard bioplastic or a construction material? I certainly didn't, and when I found that out, I thought, wow, you can bring this wonder plant and make it into something.
To use hemp as a building material, we need to extract shives and fibers from the stalk of the hemp plant. The shives are the woody, basti material that can be put together with lime and water to produce something known as hempcrete. Alongside this, you can use the fibers to produce felt-like materials, and if you impregnate these with bio-based resins, you can produce these compression molded panels that can be used for cladding materials or for rain screens or roofing tiles.
In making the house, we've developed a system that is almost entirely hemp-based. So there's hemp in the structural panels that make the frame of the building, but also in the cladding. The house was designed to be made in a factory. The whole thing went together incredibly quickly. So in 2 days, we had essentially the frame of the house, the insulation of the house, and a kind of roof frame on. The hempcrete can store heat and energy. So in the winter, what that means is that it drastically reduces your need for additional heating, because you are able to store a lot of that heat energy, both from the sun, but also from people using the building. And in the summer, you get the kind of opposite effect, where it helps regulate temperatures and keep things cool. We think that a transition to bio-based construction would have an incredible impact in terms of responding to the climate crisis that we find ourselves in. What natural materials and bio-based construction offers is a complete alternative and a way of constructing that can be regenerative, that can have a positive impact